Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here. In today's video, we're taking a look at the Odin V2 by Omni Arcade. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, some of you might be wondering what the heck is an Odin V2. At a high level, it's a device that replaces the joystick on a traditional arcade stick. The Odin V2 lets you do pretty much everything you can normally do on a joystick, just with buttons instead. You have up, down, left, and right. Now before I go any further here, some of you might be asking, what's the point of the Odin V2? Why would you even install one? There's three main reasons here. First up, it's faster than a traditional joystick. So the traditional joystick does take time to go from left to right, but with the Odin V2, that timing is pretty much eliminated because the left and right keys can be controlled with different fingers. It's a lot faster than a joystick. The second reason is a lot of people are comfortable using this since they grew up gaming with a computer keyboard, and this simulates a computer keyboard fairly well. The third reason is that it's fairly inexpensive to do if you wanted to convert a traditional fight stick into a WASD stick. The Odin V2 is the second iteration of the Odin, hence V2. Functionally, it's the exact same device, but there are some notable differences. The first difference is you now have Kale MX sockets. You also have a centered stem. You have a plug-and-play JST PCB and cable, a range of LED colors, always on LEDs, and art top compatible. When I first took a look at the Odin V2, I was pretty surprised with the overall quality. I could tell a lot of engineering and thought went into this thing. It is 3D printed, it's made with some pretty good plastic, and it feels very nice. The buttons are firmly mounted to the PCB and there is no wiggling or flexing. The underside has a really nice rubber pad that does two things. It prevents this thing from slipping around, and it also protects the top of your stick. There are also two locking nuts that hold the Odin in place. If you take a close look at the inside of the stem, there's connectors in there for a PCB. The included little PCB adapter that plugs into the stem is pretty simple and straightforward. One end plugs into the Odin and the other end has two different connectors. One connector is for the LEDs and the other one is for the movement. Taking apart the Odin to look at the internal PCB, and it's pretty simple and straightforward. The front of the PCB looks extremely nice. It's a nice little Easter egg. Installation is pretty simple and straightforward. The first step is to open up your fight stick. The second step is to remove your joystick. For this video, I'm using a Quamba Obsidian with a Sanwa JLF. Once the joystick's removed, the Odin pretty much just drops in. No drilling or modification to your stick is necessary, which is a huge benefit of this device. Once the Odin's inserted, you can put on the locking nuts. Before you completely tighten those locking nuts, you can position the Odin any way you want, whatever angle is comfortable for your hand. For me, I like mine slightly off-center. The next step is to hook up the wiring to the PCB connector. I've hooked up the LEDs already, and now I'm connecting the wiring harness for the motion controls. All of this is plug and play. It fits nicely and clips right on. From here, I'm pretty much done. I can insert this into the stem of the Odin and close up the fight stick. Now there is one thing I want to point out. The Quamba Obsidian has built-in LEDs, so what I ended up doing was just using one of those existing LED ports. I unplugged the side panel from the Quamba Obsidian and just plugged in the Odin in its place. Everything fit and everything worked. But if you want to approach this solution differently, you can. Fortunately, the folks over at Omni Arcade have seen a bunch of different PCBs, so they'll probably be able to help you out if you are running into issues. They also have a Discord server, and I'll leave a link in the description below. If you have any questions, you can ask them there. So here's the finished product, the Quamba Obsidian with an Odin V2 installed. This was actually one of the easiest mods I've done in a very long time, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. Here's a view from the side if you're curious to see how much it sticks out over top of the buttons. Next up, I'll show you a couple pictures in low light so you can see the LEDs. The ones included on my Odin are blue, but there are different colors available. Each switch has their own LED, and in a dark room, they're pretty bright. Here's some quick footage of the Odin in action. We'll start out with an audio test. So these switches I have in this Odin are red linear Kale switches. They're relatively quiet, and I find them very comparable to a silent Sanwa. So I installed silent Sanwas on the Quamba Obsidian to show you the difference. Here are a few fireballs. Here are a few dragon punches, and my inputs are coming out a little bit sloppy. Now I have updated the firmware in my Quamba Obsidian so it does have SOCD cleaning. To test this out, I'll hold 2 different buttons at the same time. Here's what happens when I hold down and press up. Here's what happens when I hold left and then press right, and then when I hold right and press left. Not all fight sticks have built-in SOCD cleaning, and if yours doesn't, you'll get some unexpected behavior when you press left and right at the same time. If you're getting unexpected behavior, you can always add something like the Magician's SOCD cleaner to really help things out. I did an entire video on this, and I'll leave a link in the description if you do want to check it out. Now the Odin V2 that was sent to me is red in color with black keycaps, red Kale linear switches, and it has blue LEDs, but these are all customizable. If you are interested, I'll leave a link to this page in the description below where you can see what the Odin has to offer. There's quite a few color options here available for the base. There's quite a few color options available for the LEDs. You can choose the individual switches that you want on this device, and you can also choose the color of the keycaps. In my opinion, the level of customizability for the Odin is pretty insane. So here are my overall thoughts on the Odin V2 by Omni Arcade. First and foremost, this thing is built well. It's built solid, it feels good, it doesn't flex, it's sturdy. Secondly, this is designed incredibly well. It's a very easy solution to install in your fight stick. You really don't have to do a whole lot of modding other than removing the current joystick and just dropping this in. You don't have to drill additional holes, you really don't have to do a whole lot. This was one of the easiest mods I've done in a very long time. Thirdly, this feels good and it performs very well. If you're used to the WASD style of control and you like to play on keyboard, this should be right up your alley. Now this is raised a little bit above the fight stick, and I did show you a picture of that, and that really didn't turn out to be an issue. I thought it'd be a little bit uncomfortable, but it's not, because these are very low profile keycaps and they're also low profile switches. I tried this out over a number of gaming sessions and not once did my fingers cramp up. There are 2 things that I didn't quite like about the Odin V2. One of them can't really be helped, and the second one, well, it's a matter of personal preference, and I'll start out with that one first. So the red on this, the coloring of red on this doesn't really match the Sanwa red. And I was a little bit bothered by that when I had it installed. Again, a matter of personal preference, but when I saw it side by side with the Sanwa red, I was looking at it and it's like, oh, that looks a little bit off. But again, if it doesn't bother you, then it's not a big deal. The other thing that I didn't really like, but it can't really be helped, is SOCD cleaning. So if you install this in your fight stick and your fight stick doesn't have SOCD cleaning, you will need to pick up a separate device altogether. I wish they had that option to order an SOCD cleaner with this so you can install both at the same time and make it nice and easy. But as it stands, if you don't have SOCD cleaning, you will need to buy a separate device. As for the cost, the Odin V2 will set you back $50, which I actually think is well worth it. $50 to convert your arcade stick to a WASD stick with no drilling and pretty much no effort involved is a big thumbs up from me. If you're looking to convert your existing stick, buy a new stick and convert it, or build your own stick, I highly recommend the Odin V2. I really can't say enough good things about the Odin V2. I didn't expect to like it as much as I did. But anyways, that is all I've got for today. Let me know your thoughts on the Odin V2 in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Thank you everyone, take care.